Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Meeple has landed.
Good evening,
That's nice.
everyone, and welcome to Vitruvian Meeple's production of Issue 7 of The Powers That Be. I am Trevor the Vitruvian Meeple, your host. I'm here with Patrick, Ecat, Mogdek, Julie, and Bray, here to present Issue 7. Now, we're on a little bit of a time crunch here, more than normal, because DST has fucked with all of us. Those of you not in the United States, we envy you. So, I'm going to turn it over to our GM, Patrick. Patrick, please take us into the world of Excelsior.
All right. In our last episode, issue 6, Brother versus Brother, we encountered a couple interesting things. First, we started off with Gen X being held by the back of his neck by a former foe, Grendel. Well, I guess Grendel is still a foe because, well, he grabbed Gen X by the head. But they had a fine discussion about how things went down to the end of the group that Gen X was a member of and the end of Grendel's career as a criminal. Afterwards, Crash got a call on his burner, and his sergeant contact told him that there was a issue with one of their dark websites not functioning. At the same time, the party finds out that there is a hole in the middle of a street a few blocks away from their usual hangout, and through some complicated lookings and things, turns out that both of these things were related. Eventually, the party finds themselves in a discussion between a anthropomorphic mole and a troll, who are both living underneath the ground at the bottom of the hole. They're having an argument. The party helps smooth things over between them. They go visit the internet troll's dark web. He calls it the dark web because it's dark down where he has his web. Into his very primitive server room, fixing things up, muchly to the thanks of Nevada, who, with her cold abilities, cooled off a whole bunch of Windows 98 SE and Windows Millennial Edition machines. And thus the dark web was back online, things are working again. And the party, for how we want to say reasons, have decided they want to go and visit the Troll King, and the Mole King, and are now heading that direction as we speak. So, welcome to issue number 7, The King of Clubs. So you're walking down the tunnel, being led by a small group of mole workers who you're having a very difficult time telling apart. You imagine they are very good at telling each other apart, but they're all wearing the same overalls and the same helmet. Have the same paperwork sticking out of their pockets. They talk the same. They kind of waddle along the same. It's just a little unnerving that you're all of them are more or less identical. They're all talking the entire time about things that seem very, very important to them, largely dealing with a gigantic hole in the street above where it's not supposed to be. After you've walked for a good half an hour, you enter a large cavern. And the cavern has a very interesting aspect to it, in that there are piles of paperwork everywhere. There are receipts, there are old newspapers, there are memos on yellow paper, there's memos on pink paper, there's stuff that looks like it got printed out by a dot matrix printer. There are things that look like they were written on the back of an envelope, just sorted out into various piles everywhere. And in the middle of this room sits best you can tell, a throne carved out of the stone. It's a little rough, but definitely throne-like. And upon it is another one of the moles. This mole, you can tell, is a little different than the others. On his helmet, with the little light on it, is encrusted with, best you can tell, are jewels from where you are. He wears a robe behind him that looks kind of like a faded Persian carpet, and he carries a scepter in his hand that it's kind of like a gigantic potato masher, really. And the moles lead you up to him and all bow very lowly in courtesy to their leader.
Crash takes a deep bow. Oh, holy moly.
Nevada rolls her eyes and just shakes her head.
Oh, as Crash comes back up, he's doing the same thing.
The Mole King looks down upon all of you. Says, "Ah, emissaries from the surface world, welcome to the underground kingdom."
Help. What's
I-
up?
I kind of, I'm sitting there with my arms crossed, and I use one elbow to kind of nudge Gen X forward. Everyone else.
As I
takes a
go
step back.
forward, I look at one of the stack of papers and I go, I swear to God, I had that printer when I was in junior high.
Might actually be your printer for all we know.
Yeah, that's where it went.
Nothing ever dies on
No.
the internet.
So we are now, just to refresh my memory, we're visiting him in order to deal with the hole on the surface. I forget exactly.
Yes, that was the idea. The moles were having some sort of disagreement with the troll and amongst each other as to exactly how high the hole shafts was supposed to be, why there was a hole at the top, and exactly what it is that went wrong. And the paperwork involved seems to have just gone missing. And you're starting to understand how that might have happened now.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
It was for
So-
the tank. To tank, they really need a better fouling system. I wonder if we could get them an intern or GA.
Interesting you
I-
say that.
Not it.
I
Oh.
hop forward a little bit and read the room, and I take a deep breath, hide the fact that I'm rolling my eyes so far in the back of my head that you'd think I was a slot machine, and go, "Oh, most moliest of rulers. Greetings from the surface. I and my band of merry travelers wish to speak with you as to the unexpected surfacing of this giant hole in our transportation system. It seems there was a bit of miscommunication, and we wish to assist in its resolution and reparations."
Very wise decision. Yes, it turns out that some of the surface has met the underground kingdom in a way that is not advantageous to anybody whatsoever. So, yes, that is indeed a problem. And I unfortunately have to report to you, it probably will continue to be a problem for some time. He points about the chamber in which he stands and which he sits. So I have a boon to request of you, and if you are able to assist me with that, I believe I can assist you by helping repair the transportation grid above in a timely fashion, such that the things work out very well for all of you.
And what might that boon be?
We need something that we do not have here in the Underkingdom. The trolls don't have them. We don't have them. Nobody does. And you see, what we require is a skilled bureaucrat. See, I have read in some magazine clippings about bureaucrats and how handy they are and how they can make, a molehill out of this mountain of paperwork, if you'll pardon my turn of phrase. And we want to see, instead of our mistakes getting bigger and bigger, we want to, find efficiencies and and bestow upon us the magic of continual process improvement. I've heard of these things, for we may be strong, but we are not agile by any stretch of the imagination. So if you can find for us one of these people to come down here and assist us, we will gladly help you and solve the problem that we created, and perhaps other boons in the future.
Sounds like you need a great oracle to guide your way.
Oh, I'm sure that we could think of a number of such capable people whom we would love to bring down in order to assist you. And
Yes.
I turn to Tink and say, is there anybody at your university that you think could spare time, effort, resources?
The list is endless.
Mhm.
Whether they want to come is completely a separate issue.
You have an entire business department.
Come on, unpaid internship.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
Tell one of the people in your MBA program they'll get some practical experience.
Yeah, I can probably draft up a job posting.
All the dirt you can handle.
I turn to Crash. How about your connection on that burner? Any pencil pushers that he knows?
I can certainly check into it, though I don't know how willing they'll be. They do kind of like their desk jobs.
We can probably get him a desk down there.
Exactly.
Oh,
They can get in from the ground up.
Nice.
I was going to go with going undercover, but I like yours too.
Everybody, would you please take an experience for the proliferation of glorious puns that we have had this evening?
Now
We're
you're
just
figuring
getting
out
in
how to
on
be
the
a Cypher
ground
GM.
floor.
There you go.
I must reward bad behavior.
Yep.
I turn back to the king and say, though we don't have anybody with us, I'm so very sorry. To whom do we have the most honorable honor of speaking?
Oh, I am Mole King. Just like my father before me, Old Mole King, and my son, who will become new Mole King.
Most excellent, Mole King. I believe that if you would deem it acceptable to give us a little bit of time to recruit someone in order to help you in your endeavor, that we could provide you with that which you most certainly need.
Thank
Cheap
you. Your
labor.
efforts will be greatly appreciated and highly rewarded.
And of this boon that you mentioned,
I can offer you some shiny rocks. And he tilts his helmet, and you see the various rubies and gems and a couple diamonds, like right in front of the light as a lens. He has like a almost like softball-sized diamond sitting there.
Shiny
You figure they
rocks.
dig a lot; they must have found something good. You're fairly certain that the diamond lens on his light has to be worth a cool million, easy.
Crash is desperately trying not to drool.
like Abu in Aladdin.
Seeing as how terrible the rest of his royal outfit is, you're rather impressed with the fact that not only is he, bejeweled with actual jewels, that it seems to be put on with hot glue.
I'm also expecting all of these gems to not have like commercial cuts. Like they're gonna be functionally
they're
polished.
just shiny rocks.
Yeah.
They're like cabochons at best, a couple of them polished, but like the diamond is, has a nice shape to it. So it's actually, it does a good job with the light. But which, by the way, all the light down here is coming off of their helmet, just so you know. Then like there's no like big lights floating around.
So basically, it's like his own personal disco ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I just get like 2 or 3 other of the moles go do 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 do. I turn back to. Go ahead.
When you find somebody, all you will need to do is just bring them to the hole. I imagine we won't be finished with patching that up quite yet, and we'll come get them.
That sounds reasonably efficient.
Yeah, we have a blanket we can stretch across the bottom. Just have them jump. It's fine.
Or not.
In that
We're
case,
like 90% sure they'll live.
I definitely have some people I can volunteer.
I like type out the job listing while we're talking and post it on one of the board on the just regular university board.
It'll have some extra cachet because you're posting off of the dark web.
There you go.
Well then,
Well, we appreciate your audience, and if there is nothing else, we shall be humbly taking our leave.
Thank you for your appearance. It's greatly appreciated.
oh right, yes,
Pleasure.
of course.
Through gritted teeth is all ours. And I do the bow and just kind of start to walk backwards and tug on Paw's tail and just like, come on, it's just good. Let's go. Yeah. We're walking.
Crash does a little curtsy before he turns around and walks out.
I just kind of do a toodaloo as I turn and follow the group.
Are we just walking out on our own, or are there other?
There a couple
mole or
moles follow
moles?
you because the tunnel's really dark without any moles around you to kind of lead the way towards and especially since it was evening when you first went into it, so it's probably pretty dark outside, so the hole isn't going to be providing a whole lot of light either.
We should probably let the Oompa Loompas lead, guys.
Yep.
Fine.
Just
Yeah,
saying,
back to me.
they
Light,
got the
please.
lights.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you walk down the tunnel, and then they lead you through a side tunnel, up the ladder, down another tunnel with a whole bunch of steel conduits in it, up some more. You hear the rumbling of a subway go by, and eventually one of them pops a manhole off the area above you, and you climb out onto the street near the hole that's in the ground.
Never did I think that I would enjoy the scent of car exhaust so much.
And there's still like horns honking and stuff. They're trying to figure a way to let people go kind of catty corner around the hole without like falling into it. It's not working very well for any of the larger vehicles who are trying to back up, but there's traffic behind it. It's just still a nightmare going on over here.
Did Public Works ever show up?
Yes, the Public Works are the ones trying to readjust, and they're trying to figure if they have enough of those big steel plates to fit over it so a vehicle can go over it without the plates getting disturbed and falling into the pit. Most of them seem to just be staring into the pit like, fuck is this?
I kind of lean over to one of the public works guys who's looking at the hole, and I go, "It's a hole."
Indeed, we have a lot of experience with them. We haven't seen any like this though. This is a new type of hole. We're gonna have another bigger meeting with even more people to stare at the hole. Usually you have a guy at the bottom shoveling something, but we can't even get anyone down there.
You know.
I've got an idea.
By all means.
I look up and try to encourage the birds not to swarm to push the guy in.
I just like, and yes, there are a tremendous number of crows hanging around the square, even though it's generally past their bedtime. So they're kind of cranky.
So are we.
Yeah, I was like, they're not the only ones.
So y'all heading off to bed then?
I was gonna say, it's like, hey Tink, you got signal again?
Always.
What time is it? GM.
It's about 1:30 in the morning.
Oh shit!
You've actually
I gotta
been down
get
there a
home.
surprising amount of time.
My aunt is gonna kill me.
and
Well,
Tink,
I'll-
and Tink should probably already have 6 or 7 replies to the job posting. So
Oh yeah, totally. Like, how useless of a person do we want to send down there?
I believe like several people from
Undergrad.
Public Works just volunteered.
I was gonna say, it's like useful but expendable.
Students are expendable. There's
Mhm.
always more.
So I
Yeah.
suggest that we all go home, get a little bit of sleep. Let's meet tomorrow morning at Sunbucks and take it from there.
All right. So you head home. Anybody who is down any points, of course, can take any remaining rest that they have to recover.
So I assume that I would know Captain Emerson's schedule pretty well by now. Is he working the overnight tonight?
Yes, he is very often working the overnight.
I figured, but you know, just it may be his night off. I don't know. I'm gonna go pay him a little visit.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you head off to the police district.
Do my pseudo Batman zoom in through the window. Of course, it messes up all of the papers on his desk. I love doing that to
yes.
him.
Crash.
Damn it, Crash! So,
You have no idea how hard it is to find somebody who can do paperwork.
I might, actually. Got anyone you're looking to have some on-the-job training? Maybe for a deep undercover mission?
How deep?
Oh, about 50 feet.
40, 50 feet, yeah.
I heard that you people were spotted near the sinkhole.
Will you make it sound positively dastardly? It was, but that's beside the point.
I assume you had something to do with it?
With the collapse? Of course not. I'm a fully registered upstanding hero now, haven't you heard?
Yes, I have seen the H on your ID.
Hmm. At least it doesn't stand for hooligan. No.
Anymore.
No, in fact, we've been in negotiations with the king of the mole people. And other phrases I never thought I'd hear myself say, especially at 1:30 in the morning.
Now, I know that you're prone to being kind of snarky. Are you actually talking about mole people, or are you just like there are like some homeless people living down there or something?
You know this isn't the craziest thing you've seen tonight.
Probably not. No. I mean, a hole opened up in the middle of the street.
Now, do you want to hear the really confusing part?
Oh, certainly.
You know what will make it all better? The services of a bureaucrat.
A bureaucrat.
Yes.
Would mole people need a bureaucrat?
Because their papers are in even worse shape than yours. I'd say sorry, but I'm not.
If you need somebody, I can call down to 1PP. I am quite certain there is a sergeant out there who has thoroughly displeased a lot of people.
30
Or
days in the hole.
the mayor's office as well. They have plenty of paper pushers around there.
Well, that's what they've said they needed. And in return, by the way, we're not doing this out of the goodness of our hearts. They have promised to help patch the hole in our lovely streets.
That would be good. They're
so.
talking about having to rip up the entire square in order to lay a steel foundation underneath upon which they can put a roadbed. They estimate approximately 4 to maybe 6 months.
I believe.
We might be able to hire the Adams to do it, except they are A, expensive, and B, occupied building a giant hospital in Manhattan.
I think with the services of our paper pusher, we might be able to move that schedule up.
I'll make some phone calls.
Excellent. You know how to contact me. And I'm gone. the echoes of "Damn it, Crash!" You're echoing in the distance.
He goes into his closet, pulls out yet another window, fixes the glass in to replace the broken glass. Not from you passing through it, oddly enough, just from the pressure wave that follows you.
And with that, then I go back, feed the fish, and go to sleep.
All right. So you all wake up the next morning. I say, taking Crash, I think you were down a few points here and there.
Yep.
I want to correct that. So you all get up a little late the next day because, you had a late night. Well, except maybe Tink and Nevada, because let's face it, they probably don't sleep much during regular hours anyway.
Or at all.
Yeah.
So you all
Too much
converge
blood
upon
in your
Sunbucks in the
caffeine
morning.
system.
Sorry?
Too much blood in your caffeine system.
Yeah, seriously.
You converge upon the Sunbucks, and you see somebody leaving it kind of in a huff, and then they walk down the street like, God damn it, grumbling to themselves.
Morning. I go
Anybody know what his
wander
beef is?
It's daylight.
Besides that,
Someone needed their shining sunbeam this morning.
You didn't get it.
there you go, signature drink.
You guys go up to the counter, and written upon the espresso machine is a handwritten note that says "No coffee" on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have ourselves a genuine emergency.
Yes.
Ah,
I just stand there blinking, trying
Yeah.
to process these words.
Nevada is totally on tilt right now.
Yeah. She's intelligent, but these words do not make sense in her world.
Oh, barkeep.
The one barista turns and looks at you guys, kind of rubs her hands in her apron. So what can I get you that's not coffee?
Murder?
I was gonna say, how about your supplier?
I was just going to go straight to an explanation, but you know.
I mean, I can step on some coffee beans and crunch them up a bit and maybe soak them in some cold water. Maybe it'll make coffee for you. We ran out of the cold brew that we made last night already. So we got nothing.
Dare
We
I
don't
ask,
even have hot water for tea, to be perfectly honest.
So what's going on? What
Oh, it broke.
it broke.
The
It
world?
broke.
Tink.
We've called the
Hank!
we've called the head office, and they're gonna see if they can send somebody down, but unfortunately they're in Jersey today, so
I don't even wait for an invitation. I'm like, the moment that I see the sign like coffee of the machine is broken, oh, I am on it.
So while she's still explaining this, you have already undone the screws in the back, taken the back plate off with the sign, dropped it onto the floor, and are now looking at this proliferation of tubes, pipes, and pressure vessels.
And I'm not happy.
Can she be saved, Captain?
Understandably. Now, who are you talking to? Might I please ask?
I'm asking Tink if it can be saved.
So, Tank, you have this skill called repairing machines. So the question
Yes.
is, do you want to fix it, or do you want to maybe
Make
take her
it
to bed and
better.
make it a little better?
I am going to get the best cup of espresso that I have ever had in my entire life, just out of sheer spite.
So you look at the materials that you have to work with, which is the rest of the espresso machine you can rearrange and tinker with,
And spite.
and spite, and a couple tools that you have. And yeah, you can give it a whirl. This is going to be difficult to do because, once again, you don't quite have the right materials to work with. So let's call this a difficulty 6, which is going to
bring it down to 1.
2, 1. Yeah.
Okay, so technically it'll bring it down to 3 because you're specialized in repairing machines. That being said, if you want to throw 1 level of effort at it, which I believe will cost you 2 intellect, you can just do it.
Words? Okay.
So either you can roll the dice with a
90%.
with a target of 1, or you can spend 2 intellect points and it'll just happen automatically.
I will spend the 2 intellect points if I can figure out how to do that.
Subtract 2 from your current intellect.
So click on your little tank and then subtract 2 from the blue bubble.
Click from the blue bubble. Okay. 13. Enter.
There we go.
I can't, like, there's the little red, green, and blue lines with numbers on them, and I can't read it. It's too small.
Yeah, you have to zoom in a bit.
Yep.
Zoom
there
is
it
your friend in this. Okay, so while the others are still discussing this matter with the barista, who is none too happy about the situation because she's getting precisely 0 tip money right now. And as we all know, the regular pay doesn't work very well. And your friend is like, starts playing with the machine and pulling some parts out and stuff. And at one point, like, her whole upper torso is inside of the machine as she is doing something with it. And then eventually she steps back, tries to put the back plate back on. It doesn't quite fit, so she takes on. She has to hammer on it a few times to bend it out in a spot, and then put it back on. And then puts a little sign, caution hot, over that spot because it's going to get very, very warm if people touch it. And then reaches over and turns it back on, and the machine starts warming itself back up.
No. I grab the beans and I'm like grinding them like, and I'm like packing them and.
I take a cautionary step backwards.
Why is
Well, I'm
my
sitting there with my cup, waiting.
Yeah.
So you
Waiting.
you
The
pack the espresso
crocodile
beans.
and Peter Pan.
You
Yes.
you hit the button. You hear this obnoxious sound coming out of this, as it starts out as this low hum and then slowly grinds up to this really screechy, high-pitched tone, and then as all of the water and coffee and stuff dumps out into the cup in maybe 2 seconds. Just move. And you take a sip of it, and it is fucking awesome. You're like, oh, because it's really hot and earthy and very creamy flavor to it without having anything added to it yet.
I lift my pinky and meander away.
I just shove my cup at the barista.
The barista's like,
I believe we call that a little bit of spite and polish.
hits the button. Boom.
I drop extra money in the tip jar and wander after Tink.
yeah.
So you all sit down with your various and sundry drinks. And as you're sitting there, every once in a while, you hear the espresso machine fire off. Sometimes when it's not even making coffee, just occasionally makes strange noises as it's keeping its temperature or who knows what. And the barista's
I'm
on the
imagining
telephone.
like one of the mold people's like flippers like coming out from under the bar and then like sinking away.
This is the sunbox at the center of the universe. All right, so you're sitting at your usual table with your coffee, and all of you, like, this is the best cup of coffee you may have ever had.
I love you, Tank.
Good work.
I haven't said
Good
that
work.
before. I love you.
And you say you're not a superhero.
Oh, by the power of spite.
Yeah.
You have the power.
It's like, this is good. You got a name for it?
Coffee.
Mhm.
Somebody else should be in charge of marketing.
So I look at everybody and I'm just like, so have we gotten the Oompa Loompas some help yet?
My man,
Just
I
out
look
of
over to
curiosity.
Trash.
my man is making some calls. See if he can round someone up who wants some more on the job training.
I look over. Tink,
I've
what
got,
hits have
like,
you been getting?
20 applicants, all equally useless, but effective for this process problem.
With enough undergrads, you can achieve anything.
Especially if you want the world to go in reverse.
So have I
So how
gotten-
many are you thinking of accepting? 5?
All of them.
Many hands, light work.
Huh, huh.
Have I gotten any response from Emerson yet?
Yeah, actually, it's been overnight. Yes,
Okay.
he is called down to the mayor's office, and they are sending somebody.
Excellent. I assume I assume I told him just have them report to
The hole in the middle of the street.
yeah, the crash site.
Ah.
All right. I think we have our first potential applicant. Should be meeting us down at the corner any moment.
All right, not before I get another one of these things to go.
Yeah. More coffee, please.
Nevada, having drunk this coffee, you actually feel warm inside.
I really love you, Tank.
I pull out my carafe and fill it. Drop a
And
10 in the tip jar.
I hand the barista the travel mug that Tank made me a couple weeks ago and just say, Phil.
No, my name is Andy. Phil's off today. Lucky bastard.
After I get my mug full, I wander outside, throw some peanuts to whatever avian friends are like hanging around because they're always there.
Yeah.
The crows out there seem to have taken a lot of interest in your travel mug.
Mine.
We don't need even more hyper crows.
Mine.
And I make my way over to the quarter in question.
So you walk over the couple blocks to the big hole in the street, and lo and behold, there is a gentleman wearing a fairly ill-fitting suit with a briefcase, just looking around the hole, asking the public works people who are still looking into the hole about a new assignment down here, and they're like, what, do we look like we're in charge? Why are we in charge? No, we're not in fucking charge. You're in charge. You're wearing a suit. What are we
Actually,
supposed to be?
we're in charge.
Oh, good. That's just what we need. A person without a freaking hat telling us what to do. What do you need?
Is this the pencil pusher? Or is this
No,
the
that's
public
one of the public works
Oh.
guys. The pencil pusher is just really nervous.
You all
I reach into a pocket and hand Crash a ski cap so he's got a hat to wear. There, now you're a guy in a hat.
so I've now got a ski beanie on. Yeah.
That's all I had in my pocket.
Looks great with the
Very
wide
classic.
mirrored sunglasses. You, bureaucrat Conrad, we need you to go down there because there's some people there that are in need of your special talents with organization. And after all, you come so highly recommended from His Honor's office.
Oh, wow. I'm kind of surprised after I said that thing at the office party. That's good. Okay, excellent. Yeah, I've been waiting for a promotion for a long time.
Well, it is kind of downhill from here.
No. He's getting a chance to get on the ground floor of a new
There
project.
you go.
It's all up from here.
Oh,
Do we have any of the college students meeting here?
Yes, actually, you see a couple undergrads and a grad student standing around as well, discussing the internship possibility. And one's like, "Oh yeah, I heard that we're supposed to get paid, and we get special access to like some internet stuff." Really? Yeah. Oh yeah. The posting was made from the dark web. You know where all the good popcorn is.
Oh, in fact, it works out even better. Let me introduce you to your staff. That's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. That's all you really need to know.
Okay, so where are we supposed to go?
Um,
I presume we're not working, up here.
so at this point,
No.
I sent a message to the web troll.
yeah.
Ding. Hang on.
Send in the moles.
And you hear back, they're ready. So, Black Ice, just innocuously, without anyone paying attention, just pushes one right in the square of the back, and he falls in. Ah! Then you hear this really weird noise from down below, which sounds like a whole pile of springs stretching out and then snapping together again. The guy springs back up a little bit towards the top of the, and then falls again. And you hear this happen a couple more times, along with a lot of screams.
See, it's perfectly safe.
The others are looking at you all very terrified. What was that?
What was what?
That was your onboarding, of course.
Saves on public transportation costs.
I lean over to the guy from the mayor's office. You know the best leaders lead from the front.
I don't know if I've ever been leadership possibility, though. Ah! Boing. The very geared up trampoline down there. It takes him several hits to actually hit, settle.
I accidentally stumble into one of the next grad students.
The next one falls, and
Accidentally.
you hear the two screams as they pass by each other in the air.
Okay, this is fun, guys.
One of the undergrads.
I'm
just
not
looks
allowed
in-
to torture undergrads that much. We need to keep it at least somewhat safe.
That's what the
You're
rest of
not
you
doing it.
Safe. It's safe.
looks into the hole and says, it's kind of like rush week, I guess. And then just leaps off into the abyss and disappears.
So are,
That's management material.
so are they all down there at this point?
Yes.
I
Or
look down.
at least bouncing their way down there.
I look down, look back up and think, excellent. They all fell for it.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. The Oompa Loompas have help. Now what?
I walk around singing a whole new world.
See what I actually need. So now I need to go down there and start a cyclone inside it, so that it would be a world new hole.
You go do that, Sparky.
Oh, damn. You guys are in rare form tonight. Well, not that rare form. It happens all the time. But, okay.
You only have yourself to blame.
Tink, could you check with the troll to make sure that our recruits made it to where they need to go?
Yep. Yeah, I sent a message of like, all right, all
Incoming.
6 are in.
Incoming.
Tell him
Tag, you're it.
Tell him they've agreed to work for popcorn.
Hey.
And he replies with, most of them made it with the molds. I grabbed one of them for myself because, well, I could always use staff.
It's a community project.
Outreach.
Outreach, downreach.
Crowdsourcing.
All right. Well, that leaves you with one last thing left on your docket, as you recall. Crash, you have an appointment tonight.
Oh, yes. So, tonight, I have a meeting with some of the people that my contact has tried to set me up with. May know a little bit more about what's going on inside the walls of STEM.
Don't put out on the first date.
You beat me to it.
Anyone want want to come along and see what we can find out?
Sure.
My schedule's free.
I'm always down for a good brawl.
No.
I'm just nosy.
I'm
Hopefully.
bored.
Mm. As we go walking off towards someplace a little bit more private talk. So this place does have some rules.
What's the fun
Mhm.
in that?
Number one, and I look directly at Jean. No spandex.
Come on, you know I'm a denim guy.
Rule number two. Nothing that makes you look like you should be wearing spandex. That means no heroics, hero.
No Jane Fonda videos?
No. Understood?
You don't got to worry about nothing with me.
Third rule. If an altercation breaks out, don't be the first one to use powers. Fourth rule. No permanent injuries. Bruises, even the occasional broken bone. Those are fine. And the last rule, the most important,
You don't talk about Fight Club?
follow my lead at all times. These are my people.
Sounds like Sabbath dinner at my house.
Jesus.
Possibly, but with a few more turkeys. So do I have a time for my meeting?
You were told this evening.
Okay.
So you have the day to deal with.
Okay.
If you have anything else you would like to do.
I
Me-
actually go over to Tink and ask her if she's made any progress on that hero locating thing, because I'm still really curious about the special symbol around my name.
I mean, like, I guess we've only had like what, one night off
Yeah.
since that happened?
Yeah, but you don't sleep.
You're not wrong.
Fair point. Yeah.
Great. She's basically Sadako from The Ring. She doesn't
Right.
sleep.
Long hair in my face.
All right.
Crawl out of Jean's TV in the middle of the night. Don't forget, we have a meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, so would I have had time to find anything yet? Or I guess I'm just like poking at my phone while like waiting for other people to talk and shit like that.
So you note that there are a few people who have a similar kind of radiant icon that she has.
Uh-huh.
There are not many of them. There are once again a few over in the compound for the atoms. There seems to be just a dense concentration of everything on that thing going in there.
Nice.
You presume if it's following people who have powers or something like that, there's a lot of them who live in that couple block area.
Yeah.
Oh, look, a ghost nimbus. But otherwise, compared to the rest of you, you'll note that if you zoom in enough, you'll see that she has this kind of weird radiant icon going on with her. The icon for Jean also looks a little different. In that it's the regular icon, but there's a little black dot above. There are not so many of those in the city. None of them are hanging out in the compound at all. And while you're watching, one of the black icons traveling in Manhattan near Central Park just disappears, just off the list.
And like none of these icons have names on them, right? Like we just
None. No.
Okay.
The black icons just have numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones have what look like, as best you can tell, your initials and your stem number.
Mm-hmm.
And stem numbers aren't terribly big. They don't go over 100,000, which makes sense. There are not that many people with active powers in the country. Worldwide, there's a couple 100,000 of you overall.
Okay, and you said that like ours like ours only have like our initials and our stem number, and Ray's has a black dot and his initials
Yeah,
and stem.
it has the regular person icon,
Mhm.
so like a map location, except his has a little black dot on top of it.
Okay.
Nevada's has like these kind of radiant things that are kind of,
I'm
expressing outward
assuming
at all
like
times.
it's like a temperature radiation kind of maybe symbol.
Something like that, yeah. It has to describe something which a person who, like presumably a STEM agent, would be interested in knowing when dealing with her.
All right.
There's a couple other icons and said like you don't quite get what they mean because they're pretty abstract. Like some people have brackets around their name, and you don't know what the brackets mean. Once again, no bracketed people. Not only are there no bracketed people in the Atom compound, there are none anywhere in the Bronx.
All right. Yeah, I start like keeping a spreadsheet of as much data as I can collect. Eventually I'll find a pattern.
Okay. So anyone doing anything else during the day?
I'm probably
Not
putting
putting on
some
spandex
hours.
apparently.
I actually go placate my amp for a little bit and kind of cover the store for a couple hours because I gotta pretend.
I'm normal.
Says the goth chick in a wool coat in spring.
I'm seeing if I can lift any of those shiny rocks from the moles. Y'all think I'm kidding?
No.
I'm going back to my apartment and looking through old journals from previous experiences with Grendel, because that was just weird.
Yes. So you dig through, you find you wrote a decent amount about Grendel because you had to fight him several times. He was one of the tougher enemies. It would take your whole group to be able to subdue the guy. He was largely impervious to damage, was the big thing. You couldn't hit him with anything that would hurt him. You couldn't shoot him with anything that would hurt him. You basically could wrestle and pull at him and stuff, and that would work fairly well. Hence the ultimate tactics that you all would try to come up with by doing things like trying to dislocate his shoulder, and you generally could do stuff like that. And then he just quit right around the time that that the team broke up, and poking around, he has no further activity. He just ceases being a person in terms of the legal system. And he has not during that time been incarcerated either. He's apparently been free. You imagine he may have just retreated back to the Atom compound because a lot of people just live there the whole time and never leave. So he may have been doing something like that.
As I'm reading through all of this and going through just like reliving the battles and then thinking about what happened at the Atoms complex, and I'm I'm sort of getting lost in this loop. And like he's not all there, Egon, and I'm just like playing all of this history back, and something, a little germ of an idea of something I don't even know if it's an idea, but there is something that's starting to poke and go, now it's your turn to go find him. Something makes me want to return the favor, both in kind and um and the way that it was done, for the purpose that it was done. So that's just all kind of, all those gears are spinning, and I'm not sure what to do with any of that, but that's just that's one of those, maybe after something like this, and like, I'm not even thinking, it's like, what the hell are you thinking? Like, I haven't even gotten there yet, but just something, little poke.
All right. So is anybody going to dress up in anything interesting in order to head out to the Hellbender?
I'll put on a clean lab coat. Clean.
It's the one from the clean room. Obviously, it's clean.
Exactly. It's a
You take it
moderate
outside, you
amount of
shake
burn
it a few
marks.
times to, get the dust and,
Soot off of it.
get all the metal shavings out of it.
I'm gonna wear black jeans instead of blue jeans with and a black t-shirt with a leather jacket and boots instead of the white t-shirt. So basically, it's an evening look versus a daytime look.
Pa's dressing up for us. How nice.
I'm in the same thing I am always in. Black. I may polish my stompy boots though.
You were walking around some very dusty locations recently, so that might be a good idea.
I will wear my solid red t-shirt instead of Depeche Mode or any other band t-shirt that I've got populating my wardrobe, and my jean jacket and matching red Chucks.
Does your jean jacket have anything written on the back or any patches
Patches.
stitched to it?
Definitely not an undercover cop.
Yeah, this jean jacket only has 2 patches. Journey and Slayer.
Oh, Jesus fuck.
What? They're the classics.
All the best bands from the 80s are the ones that had only 4 letters in their name.
No. No.
Okay, so where are you all going to meet?
Coffee shop, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually would have said, about an hour before we were expected to meet up at Sunbucks.
So interestingly, you get to Sunbucks and it's still, kind of busy in the evening, which it usually isn't. It's like people hanging out and stuff.
Okay.
But your table is still
Great.
available, so you get to hang out there
Okay.
and make your plans.
Hey,
I like sulk by, look at the barista. Fred, I think, is on now. Nod, grab my espresso, keep walking.
I just wave my cup at him.
Oh my gosh, Tink, I know what you can do. You could set up a sensor at the Sunbucks that indicates when you are approaching from a block, and by the time you show up, they just hand you the drink.
There you go.
You don't even have to make the order. It is beep 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 beep, and then, okay, get this right from.
I don't need that amount of tracking in my life.
You do
Yeah.
realize we work for a government agency now, right?
Well, there's the amount of
Okay.
information that they get from you, and there's the amount of information that you voluntarily give,
So
which is not necessarily different. But there's the assumption.
Yeah. So, all you need is really for just a little alarm to go off. It's the Tinkerbell.
Oh Jesus!
Oh God.
I don't
Yeah.
have enough caffeine for this.
All right, so when they show up, how much trouble am I in? How much of a pain in the is Gene really as much my personal Dudley Do Right from hell as I think he's going to be?
Oh. You think there's a fairly good chance that nobody's going to swing at him as soon as he walks in.
That's about the best I was hoping for. All right. This is going to be fun. Remember, follow my lead. And at the appointed time, when we're all ready, I lead them out. And
So you head up to the northern end of the neighborhood, up to the waterfront. The waterfront where you are is a delightful mix of, there's a water treatment plant. There is also a gap power generator, which turns on only when the city needs power for peak times, and a couple other industrially type things. And in the middle of this, against a telephone pole, against a telephone pole is a telephone booth, one with just the phone hanging out in it. Kind of unusual. Perhaps the only one left anywhere in New York City, but certainly in this area of Queens. And it's just sitting there with its one little light kind of blinking, and it has a phone book in it that some jackass ripped in half. And so it just sitting there, just in the middle of the nastiest part of your entire neighborhood. It has a wonderful, wonderful view across the water to Rikers Island. And off to the side, you can see LaGuardia Airport and hear all of the planes coming and going at this hour.
oh, he decided to put it in the scenic spot tonight.
Hey, look, an antique.
So I walk over. I am flipping a coin as I go.
Hold on, wait. Just before you do that,
Yeah.
whenever Nevada said, "Hey, look, an antique," I just whip my head with my borrows, but she see that she's looking at something else, and just turn back.
Nice.
Did you get a kink in your neck moving so fast?
I'm feeling so much better now.
You'd feel even better if you hadn't actually used these in the past. But, here we are.
Yep.
I'm
So-
just like enthralled with the concept of a phone booth and not a cell phone.
So I walk over, I motion the rest of them over. Drop the coin that I've been flipping, or pick up the receiver, drop the coin that I've been flipping in the slot. Yes. Table for 5. And we'll need 4 chum buckets. Excellent.
All of you feel this weird kind of sucking sensation from your insides as you collapse in on yourselves, disappear from the world, and then reappear in a completely different location. Pull it up on the map here. Boink. May need to zoom in a bit. This map's smaller than the others. Into the Hellbender Club.
The four of you are immediately overcome by a massive wave of nausea. Luckily, there are 4 buckets conveniently next to where you are.
I had started to say, you're a chum.
Gentleman
Very
at the bar leans over. Don't worry, it happens to everybody. We insist on it.
out of curiosity, because my character has experienced chemo for years. How affected is she by the nausea?
Actually, not so much. You're able to hold it together.
Okay.
You
Reach
have
into my
felt
pocket
way
and
worse
offer
than what
Tums.
just happened.
I have a pocket full of Tums because, so I offer.
Saltine.
Crash is duly impressed.
And I'm trying because with the whole thing with the powers going haywire, I mean, that was a little bit of, I've been dealing with churning of the insides. I don't know if I make it though. I know I'm trying to be all
I just
yeah.
I just take the bucket and just very quietly go off into the corner.
Airball.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yep,
it
hairball.
sounds like
Kick
she's
my
having a
guts out.
hairball.
Wipe my face off.
It probably is a hairball, actually.
Yeah. Pop into the ladies' room so I can swish my mouth out with water before going to order a drink. I'm like, okay, it's all good. I meant to do that.
So can I roll for Constitution?
That would be a might defense roll.
That it would. Let's see. How about a might defense difficulty 5? Because your intestines were literally squished into a nowhere and then brought back into existence. It takes some practice to get through it, but might defense 5. So see if you can make that.
Wait, no. Okay. Boom. Where? Oh my gosh, it's been so long. Okay. My defense. Now I go over. Wait, where's the map? Another window. Okay, there we go. Difficulty. There we go. And because I am in public, I am going to throw effort into this. Okay. And effort to roll. We're going in both. We are going in both.
What do you mean in
2
both?
effort.
Okay.
I'm throwing in 2 effort here.
Okay.
No assets. So my assets, my denim jacket, man. Oh shit.
So you're standing there and you're fighting it. So whereas like the others, if they go, they just it just happens. You're and you almost make it.
What's that?
And then you
And
just
so
feel that
I
fell
turn
gurgling.
and I see Crash. So Crash, he's waiting, right?
Mhm.
You're just, and and it starts to subside, and I think I got it. And I turn and I go like that, and I go.
My dice is now.
Tic tac.
Give me a minute.
So at this point, while they're all getting themselves back together, I am actually leaning over and having a quiet conversation with Hellbender, saying that I know someone is supposed to meet me here tonight. I don't know who they are, but they're supposed to know me. Actually, no. Before we get to that, we'll catch up because it's been a while. Shoot the shit, small talk kind of thing. Then I'll go into the fact that someone's supposed to meet me here. Has anyone been asking around? Or if not, can we get a table and some drinks?
There's a mysterious gentleman in the back corner booth, so I figure that would have to be him. And you look over, And it is one of the few spots in the bar where there is practically no light. You see a person is sitting there, you cannot see his face from where you are.
He's got a hood on and he's smoking a long pipe.
Do you have any of those little blue pills? My sword broke.
So, well, I guess, just to investigate, I guess I'll stride over to him.
So you walk over. Let's see. Here. There we go. Wink. And here we have the mysterious Mr. X sitting in the corner, which you can zoom in on if you would so like.
Is that him in the spot? Light.
Losing your religion?
No, losing his lunch.
Wait, where is he? Oh, whoa.
Yep.
Hold on.
He's in the corner. You have to,
that
once again,
corner.
you have
Wow.
to zoom in a
Okay.
Those of you watching on video, if you direct your attention to the large photo shot in the Excelsior Herald, you will see the gentleman we're talking about.
So sitting in the corner, you see a somewhat nondescript middle-aged man sitting, just minding his own business, working his way through a fairly dark-colored beer. As you walk up, he doesn't even look at you. Ah, you made it. Excellent. Will your friends be joining us?
Maybe later. Let's start this one-on-one. I look back to the other four of them. Have a seat. Enjoy a drink. I'll be over here. I do the turn the chair around and sit down with my arms with my arms crossed on the back of it.
I reach over to Black Eyes to like Tom.
I offer Tums and Tic Tacs.
I very quietly
Mumbling. Yep.
I go over to I work my way down around the corner of the bars so that I'm just a little bit closer to Crash. I trust him to do what he needs to do, but I want to be close, a little closer if necessary.
Yes, yeah, you're within a good pounce of being able to like jump on and potentially eviscerate this person before he's able to do too much. It takes tags. I mean, you can find yourself a high pressure press in order to make just about anything like that. So the man looks you up and down, kind of sizing you up. So, you have interests, I hear. So tell me, what do you think about STEM?
I think I need to see your. I think I'd like to see your. Let's call it a badge of honor first, shall we?
He reaches out to grab his beer. His sleeve slips up a little bit, and lo and behold, tattooed on his wrist, you see the police shield with a pair of hammers.
Excellent. What do I think of STEM? Right now, they're a means to an end. In the long run.
I mean, you're a power, so generally it behooves people to sign up, if only for, the free healthcare and cash. It's a thing other countries give to everybody for free, but not here, of course.
Of course
not our way.
And I will say, the cash is better when you have the little H on your ID. That being said, I don't trust anyone that knows that much about that many people with powers.
Yes. I'll tell you, it's not that I don't trust them. And it's not that I don't trust the Liberty League. I just don't think anybody should operate without oversight. And insofar as my investigations have told me, I haven't found any oversight for them at all. They aren't a government agency. They don't report to anybody. STEM, as best I can tell, reports to the Liberty League, and the Liberty League report to each other, if anyone.
Nobody's watching the Watchers.
Indeed. And let's face it, they're kind of an interesting crew of people, don't you think?
I'd ask whether you were referring to STEM or the Liberty League, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't suppose that matters.
Kind of both. But the League themselves, you'll perhaps have noticed a couple interesting things about them. For instance, they aren't the most powerful people out there.
No.
There are easily others who can clean their clock. Statesman, for instance, could very easily, if it was a matter of fighting for the position, easily 2 or 3 of them he could take out without even thinking about it. He's almost impenetrable.
Well, then I suppose it's a good thing for all of us that he's so humble.
Oh, that is a. I have in my time I have seen some of his darker side. He's the things that don't always show up on TV. That's another interesting part if you think about it. What's the chances that every time there's some big villain doing his thing that there's cameras nearby before the League shows up? How many cameras do they have? Are they everywhere? Are they spying on everybody? Or do they know where it's going to happen in advance? We don't know.
Neither one paints a very good picture for the rest of us, now does it?
It does not. People don't like the idea of traffic cameras, much less. And sure, we do live in an age where, thanks to, interestingly enough, STEM technology, if you're walking around outside, there's a camera watching you somewhere that realizes who you are. If you have a warrant out on you, it's very easy to find you. It's made my colleagues' job significantly easier.
I wouldn't know anything about that, I assure you.
Fortunately, some people are fast enough to get past without the camera seeing them. Or so I've heard. So, but there's an interesting thing about that. See, there's this strange thing that happens to people who look into STEM. Things happen to them. Interestingly, they're not bad things. There's been a number of us through the years who've gone in to do what we do now in a previous guise, and they all stopped. They got promotions. Some of them got early retirement or won the lottery or found the love of their life. They moved somewhere else and just pursued other things without ever looking back at STEM. And when we talked to them about it, it wasn't as though they had been bribed out of it or anything. They just didn't want to anymore. And it ceased interesting them. It seems a little funny for people who are largely professional investigators.
Especially all of a sudden like that.
Yes.
Repeatedly.
Well, that's why we've changed our tactics a bit.
Oh?
I assume that if what I'm trying to encourage you guys to get into gets found out, I will be out of the running. I'll, who knows, maybe go sailing around the world or something else perfectly pleasant that seems to happen to all of our predecessors. But interestingly, the way we've set it up since we've adopted using the dark web, it's a fascinating bit of technology. You should perhaps learn about it. I don't know how any of it works, but that's what the tech people are for.
We're familiar.
So if, I happen to fall out of the running, what I've learned won't disappear. And more importantly, the rest of the organization will be able to continue working. And we have people positioned all over the place, some inside, several outside, good positions to watch things. But there's still only so much we can really see because we don't, as you say, have the H on our IDs.
Well, then I suppose it's lucky for you that I'm such good friends with the captain. And I've always been a little too curious for my own good.
That was his thought exactly. You have a wonderful combination of curiosity and disregard for the rules.
You flatter me.
I'd reference your history, but unfortunately, your rap sheet has recently been eradicated. We have a couple paper copies, just in case.
I'll have to see what I can do about that. Anyway, so you want us to be your, and I look very deliberately over cat's paws.
Yes, in a way. So consider something here. We have brought ourselves to ask the bigger questions about things. It's part of what our job is, not just about STEM itself. It's something is off, and we don't know what it is. Consider a couple facts, if you will. STEM tells us who is a hero and who is a superhero, correct? The Liberty League are superheroes. Statesman's a superhero. There's a number of them across the country and in other nations as well that with other agencies that I guess STEM works with. Maybe it's all STEM, we're not sure. They have rules for how that works based upon your time in, your responsibilities that you've taken on. There are also villains and supervillains. You see them written about both by people in STEM and by the news. Who determines who's a villain and who's a supervillain? Do they have that on their ID?
I never thought about that. I always assumed it was a matter of magnitude, I suppose. Whether it be of power or of collateral damage.
It fairly well is. So I hear that you're familiar with a gentleman named Hex. Hex is categorized as a supervillain. Hex can get taken down with one good punch. I arrested him once. And he did not put up much of a fight. Later on, his handcuffs broke, the door fell off of the police car, and its engine failed, and he was able to walk away from it.
That sounds about
right. But
right.
he couldn't put up a fight at all. He's not, powered in that way. So what makes him a supervillain?
Well, he's a super.
Compare him to Doc Atomic. Doc Atomic, who has been, as of late, a complete terror in Asia, is a veritable just walking atomic bomb. He has to wear a suit lest he kills everything around him from just, acute radiation poisoning. He's a supervillain. You expect him to be. But why is Hex one? There are regular villains who are stronger than Hex is, by a good measure. What is the thing that makes him that, and who decided it? Do you just go out and say that you are one? Because otherwise, every villain would be a supervillain, wouldn't they? Most of them are, in it for a personal gain. Who wouldn't want to be, the biggest, baddest guy on the block? And yet they're not. And there are some who are very strong who aren't.
It's not all about strength, though. As you've seen, Hex may not be able to put much of a fight, but he's also hard to keep an eye on, keep hold of, shall we say.
Oh, he is dangerous. Especially in a particularly offensive manner. And he's also clever, which is the main problem with people like him. But once again, do they have an organization as well? If so, is that organization maybe STEM? We do know that a whole lot of people who are, people who come to this bar are registered with STEM. How do you think they pay for their drinks? They collect their paycheck and every once in a while get up to some ne'er-do-wellness in order to, score some more for whatever purposes people have. That's what most are about is, fairly minor crime in the grand scheme of things. But the supervillains, on the other hand, are up to things entirely different. dangerous folk. So, but there's other things as well. Like, so where the Scions and the Atoms came about not long after the catastrophe that destroyed our fair city. Where did they come from? They came within a decade of each other that anyone was able to notice. The Scions first, and they were kind of a quiet group at first until the government realized that they were there, and then the Atoms started springing up. Why? Where did they come from? What causes them? Where did powers come from? Powers are less than a century old. There are very few people in antiquity who are listed as having anything. Just a few at a time, heroes of old, perhaps. But these days, thousands, hundreds of thousands, actually. What's causing them? Or, here's a good question for you. Your good friend there, he has an alien inside of his head. Some sort of energy being symbiote connection. I'm not quite sure how it works, but it's sentient. So what does it want? Why did it come here?
I always wondered why he was like that.
So, and there are a few of them. Apparently, you've made friends with another one recently, the Universal Teleporter.
Oh yes, young
so
William.
He's his name is not William. You'll notice there's only one L. I don't know if I should tell you this one. Don't bring it up to anybody. It's short for Wilbur. Not a terribly common name these days.
No.
But he's an interesting character. His family is he basically kind of is like the if Wonder Bread meets a jar of mayonnaise, and then somehow you get hit.
Ew.
But what is it that the aliens want? They're conscious beings. Why here? They have a whole galaxy, a universe to go to. What brought them to Earth? What
Disney
brought
World?
three of them that we know of are in Manhattan are in New York are in Excelsior right now. You have your friend, you have your other friend, and one of the big old-timey villains is still around, Lumiere.
Really?
Yes.
I thought he would have retired to his own private island by now.
Actually, she. Lumiere has been cruising around since the Great War, and seemed to hit about 40 years old and stopped. You would think for a person who's lived largely in the United States for over 50 years, would have at some point, affected a good American accent, has never done it. But she's still there. And once again, alien powered, we know this, talks to her alien. They communicate with each other. We don't know why. We don't know why that thing's here. Why it sticks with her. Because that thing is ridiculously powerful. And yet, so why are there aliens here? What's happening on Earth? Those are the sorts of questions that we have to ask ourselves.
I think at this point,
how about like?
I think at this point, this conversation might be too big for just the two of us. Would you mind if?
Oh, by all means, invite them over. So,
ladies
signal
and
to the rest of you.
If you would join us, this is my good. I'm sorry, I never caught your alias.
Mr. X.
Ah, original.
Yes, it is. I like to keep it that way. Doesn't serve any of us if I stick out terribly well. And by the way, if you ever see me in the mundane world and so much as look at me twice, we're going to have big problems.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I'm not going to be the source of those big problems either.
I'd introduce my friends, but I assume you already know who they all are.
Oh, yes, I've seen all of your files. Like I said, we've got a couple people on the inside.
So what's the next step?
So this is where the question comes in. So we're dealing with an organization of people who have no oversight, do not belong to any government, is self-funded. It's self-funded enough, by the way, that the money that it pays to all of the registered people, it itself generates. This is not tax money.
Go
Consider on their payroll list, they have the likes of Simon Sawyer. Simon Sawyer owns the patents to so many commonly used devices that every time you pick up and dial your phone, you are paying yourself in the money that they pay you. Interesting, isn't it? There's few pieces of technology he does not have a patent on somewhere. So that's as best how I can tell they fund themselves. They probably have other routes as well, but he definitely has a big purse string level control over things. So in dealing with that organization, an organization you are part of, might I add,
Yes.
brings me to the consideration of, if you wish to work with me, I think you need to demonstrate to me that you're serious about it, all of you. So I'd like to send you out on a test run. As it
Oh,
were.
good. Another test.
Yay!
Nobody's grading you for this. This is a go out and see what you see, and then see if you can figure out what happened to some extent, and then report back. It's fairly simple and more or less what we would have you doing. The downside is that where you're going is not going to be the safest of environs. The type of place only folks like you can hopefully get out of.
Oh.
So are you familiar with our local fascist group in memoriam?
We've had run-ins, yes.
Yes. With your friend's fist, as I seem to recall. He's still recovering, by the way, so excellent work.
Oh. That's a shame. I was hoping it would be fatal.
The ones that you run into on the street are kind of a low-level part of the organization. In memoriam's a lot bigger than it looks. And it's not just local. They just happen to have recently sprung up locally. They've been very good at keeping quiet for a good while. We're not quite sure how long they've been around, but they've been around. And let's face it, fascism is something that comes back into style every once in a while, but is always there.
Yes.
So they have a base out on Long Island. He pulls out his phone, opens up the map app, zooms in, and shows you a part of northern Long Island called Eaton's Neck.
Okay.
This is a almost an island.
Sorry, was that
kind of a peninsula?
Eden?
Eaton, E-A-T-O-N.
Okay.
Largely empty. It's park and eat. Mostly empty. Just kind of foresty land. They built a secret base there. Now, I happen to know it's there due to an incident that occurred nearby with some of the locals. But they're generally quiet about it. It used to be a small industrial complex. They've expanded it a bit. They've put up some aerial camouflage so the satellites don't see it. So it largely just, looks like a woodland area with a small garage in the middle of it. I want you to go there, but you can't just kind of go in guns blazing because they have lots of guns and they will send their guns blazing at you. So a little discretion will be good. But I have a tip from one of my sources that something is going to happen there next Tuesday, which would give you good 4 days to prepare. So I would like you guys to go out to Eaton Island, to the In Memoriam base, and see what the heck is supposed to happen.
Oh,
They
they're
tell me it's
planning.
supposed to be
They're planning on doing something. On
something
Tuesday.
is happening there. I
Ah.
don't know, But yeah, I would imagine they're planning something. Who knows? Maybe another raid on Manhattan. Their last raid did not go well, but they did not send their best, apparently. Although there's some interesting stuff with them as well. um, one of the interesting bits out of the police records is they autopsied all of the in memoriam who had fallen, and they had been dead for months.
Really?
Yes. They were already in a fairly advanced state.
Well, that's just downright unsettling.
The dust that people had to get treated for were spores from the mold or fungus of some sort that had gotten into their bodies. So wherever they were stored, apparently, it was a damp environment or something. How they moved around and how they fought, I have no idea. So I'm not sure what you'll run into there, but it probably isn't going to be any good. So that will hopefully give you a few days to maybe pull some leads that you might have, who knows. And otherwise, prepare yourself, and depending on how sneaky you are, there's probably going to be a fight if you're going to get any information, because you do have to get close.
Well, thankfully, sneaking is a couple of our specialties, and if it does come down to something far more brutal, and I look over at Jean, how do you feel about bashing some fascist zombies? You're on mute.
If it'll get that taste out of my mouth, I'm all down for it.
I offer another Tic Tac.
I take it.
What about the rest of
All
you?
right.
Anything better to do with your next few days?
Nah.
Excellent.
Zombies sound interesting.
You'd like zombie movies.
Yeah. I've read all the comics and the books.
Yes.
All right. Well, have yourselves a good evening. And I will hopefully speak to you next week.
That is the plan.
Let's say Wednesday evening. It'll give you a day to recuperate if you make it.
That's not foreboding. If such confidence. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Yes.
Here, I assume?
Yes.
All right.
So as you guys pack up to leave, you get to the bar, and Hellbender leans over as you've settled up your bills and holds out 5 coins in the palm of his hand.
That's one for each of you, by the way.
Thank you.
I just nod at the guy.
Classy.
Have a safe trip back.
I'll explain to them how it all works.
And then once again, you all feel that weird sucking sensation inside of your guts as your entire interior implodes, and you reappear back out where the phone booth is, up in the industrial area of your neighborhood. And we will leave you there for tonight, fixing to get ready to consider going off to Long Island.
Excellent. That was issue 7 of The Powers That Be. This one was called The King of Clubs. A little appropriate, don't you think? So, for those of you that like what you're doing, there is a donate link down below. Please feel free to shoot us some money if you feel like it. Maybe try to make the show a little better. If you think that we're a complete bunch of kooks and can't do anything right, there's a donate link down below. Please feel free to shoot us some money, and we'll try to make it better for you. We'll be back in a few minutes with to do our after show. That'll go up on YouTube. This will go up on YouTube after a couple of days. But in the meantime, for Patrick, Ecat, Magda, Julie, and Ray. I am Trevor the Vitruvian Meeple. Have a good night.